The D-Day beaches could become a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Under plans proposed by the French government, it would make them the first modern battlefields to be given that status.
The Normandy landings were a pivotal moment in World War I, and officials there say the region's shores should be recognised as symbols of freedom, peace and reconciliation. Martin Newman, our reporter, has more.
The Normandy coastline, 50 miles of golden sands, dunes and cliffs. Today, a slice of tranquil paradise.
This is it. They're on the beach.
80 years ago, the site of the D-Day landings, the largest ever land, sea and air operation as the Allied forces began the fight to take back occupied Europe from the Nazis. Thousands of Allied servicemen, mostly soldiers, lost their lives here. More than 4,400 died on D-Day alone. And ever since, efforts have been made to remember them and their sacrifice, including the British Normandy Memorial, unveiled in 2021. 10 years ago, officials in France called for the D-Day beaches to be given UNESCO World Heritage status. But that application was rejected. As the number of surviving veterans dwindles year by year, some are now calling for that decision to be reviewed, and for these historic stretches of sand to be given the protection and preservation they say it deserves. Martin Newman, BBC News.
So joining us now is the comedian, war historian Al Murray. Morning to you, Al, and also
morning.
Mathilde Legoupil, who's a tour guide based in Normandy. Mathilde, let's say good morning to you first, because you are there and we can see from the image behind you on your camera. This is a very special place that you know very well. What do you make of these plans to turn them into a heritage site?
I think, well, hello everyone, and I think it would be something wonderful for us, but also for all of Europe, because it is a meaningful place, and unfortunately, as you can see, we can still see them, but it's not going to last for 80 more years, and one day there will be nothing left and nothing really to remember. And if it's been listed, then everyone will know what happened here and will remember it. So it's important for us.
Mathilde, would you just explain for us, and if we go back to your shot there, you said it won't be here forever. Just explain what you mean in terms of the infrastructure there and the things people do see when you show them round.
Okay, what's behind me are the remains of the Mulberry Harbour that was created in order to unload all the equipment that the soldier would need in order to keep on going and to keep on fighting. And they're 80 years old nowadays, and every year, because of the weather, we are losing bits. And one day, the remains that are behind me are going to disappear. And if they're not here, it's difficult to visualize and to understand what happened here. And as for the beaches, I mean, it's just normal plain beaches. It's just sandy beaches, beautiful beaches, but there's nothing on them. So that's what I mean. I mean, it's difficult to actually understand what happened if it hasn't got a title or something to keep on reminding the future generation what happened here.
Al Murray, good morning. It's Naga here. Morning to you.
Hi.
I think, you know, Mathilde makes a really good point, and there's also the stark fact that those who can tell us those stories, who experienced them, are becoming fewer. They're older, and they're becoming fewer. And so in terms of the stories being told, this is important, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. And I think Mathilde is right. If you do go to Armand-les-Bains, if you go there and look at the Mulberry, the remaining fragments of this incredible harbour, that 2 million men, personnel, came through the harbour there, that they had to build because they couldn't capture a port. When you stand there and you look at these things, and they look like teeth rotting in an old jaw. They're like fading away, and it feels sometimes when you're there that they represent the fading of the memory, that the memory's turning into sort of a myth now rather than than a hard fact that, Europe's liberation was fought for through these beaches. And I think, at the moment, that what's happening in Europe at the moment maybe should make us think about what's happened in Europe before. And the Normandy beaches are a perfect way of getting to grips with what went on there, and to preserve the sites would maybe underline that. I mean, as it is, if you do go to Normandy, there is no avoiding D-Day stuff. There is no avoiding commemoration and remembrance there. It's quite incredible, from all the way from the American sector over in at the other end of the sector, all the way to the British end at Pegasus Bridge. So, but it's the most incredible site, the Mulberry, and I think Mathilde's absolutely right. It's an important thing to clap eyes on.
I just wonder, Al, whether you just address this one. In a way, maybe it will come down to this. UNESCO, as we're being told, doesn't normally give heritage status to military sites. That's a kind of convention that's been in place. Now, I just wonder what you make of that. I mean, is there a danger that then, I say a danger, I don't really mean it that way, but could that be then that lots of other places would say, well, these are important places too that were linked to military occasions, and it could almost go down that pathway?
Well, maybe it will, and that's up to UNESCO to grapple with. I think the D-Day sites are, in a sense, kind of different. Although, obviously, if you were a British soldier fighting in Italy at the same time as this, and you'd captured Rome the same day that D-Day starts, you're sort of thinking, oh, great, it's attention's on France again, rather than what was happening all over the world. Because that's the other thing to remember about the Second World War. It's a global conflict. Everything's happening everywhere all at once, is the truth. And maybe what you have is the symbolism in Normandy that's really, really important. But I don't know, all sorts of things are UNESCO protected. I mean, that when I was reading about this yesterday, the French government applied for the baguette to be UNESCO protected in 2021. So, it's a peculiar business.
And Mathilde, I know you heard that. I don't know where you stand on the baguette. Maybe we won't be talking about that right now. There has been an application for this before, hasn't there? I think in 2014. What makes you think that perhaps this time it would go through?
I don't know. I just hope that. Well, the thing that we are losing so many veterans, and the thing that it is so confusing right now all over the world. And Normandy is not just, the fight, it is the sacrifice. And they did not come to fight. They came to liberate, which is something very, very different. And I think that's peace. Peace is the word that we should remember talking about Normandy, and not war. This is the beginning of the end of the war. It's not the war itself. So I think perhaps now, with everything happening, perhaps people would think differently, and I hope that it's going to go through.
Mathilde Legoupil, Normandy tour guide, thank you very much for joining us on Breakfast. Al Murray as well, comedian, of course, war historian. Thank you very much as well for
Always
your
a
time.
pleasure.
Take care. Of great views. Matt, morning to you. We had a really lovely shot in Normandy this morning, where the sun appeared to be shining, blue skies. Of course, there's a big discussion about how whether or not the beaches there should be part of a UNESCO heritage site, for World War II. I think I actually said World War I. Apologies for that.